YouTube, welcome back to another video. I know it's been a while. I'll catch you guys up on why I've been away from YouTube for such a long time. But today I really want to talk about something super important, and that is internal misogyny. Now you're probably sitting here thinking, why? Why are we talking about this? Well, let's get into it. I took a break from social media, and during that break I went to Wisconsin to see my cousin, and during that time we had this really interesting conversation with internal misogyny and this idea that women are inherently mean to each other, and it's just something that goes, it's just normal life, and that's how stuff is. And I kind of don't agree with that. I think that's a kind of a mentality which I don't like and I want to move away from. And to do that, we need to talk about what internal misogyny is, where it's portrayed, and actually share some stories about internal misogyny, and then maybe some solutions. So let's get into it. On top of that whole conversation, I came home to the whole YouTube drama that's going on. Just a quick recap, Emily Artful came out with a 2-hour video calling out Shannon and her partner, Anthony, for allegedly stalking her for 8 years or more, way before Shannon and Emily were on YouTube, so they knew each other. So that was one case of internal misogyny, which I noticed. The other case, obviously, is Gabby Han and Jessie Smiles. We don't know that story. It's very simply, Jessie Smiles had a wine career. She was sexually assaulted by another winer. His name does not matter. Gabby Hanna and her became friends afterwards, but Gabby Hanna has constantly used Jessie's assault as fuel for different things. She's constantly pushed Jessie down and called her a drama queen, and basically all these other things. And overall, I was noticing cases of internal misogyny coming out in both cases, and I was like, I gotta talk about this. This is just too much easy. So what is internal misogyny? Let's talk about that. So if you understand how prefixes work, the prefix misos, mis means against, and gyne, the suffix, means women. So gynus, the word actually means women. I don't think it's a suffix, but misogyny itself stands for hatred against, hatred for women. Just the misandry stands for hatred for men. So that's really important to point out what those words mean. Internal misogyny is the internal hatred of women and womankind from another woman, right? It's really focused on the idea that there's a gender bias. So most women who are dealing with internal misogyny have a gender bias towards men. For instance, this could be a mother who prefers her son over her daughters and will praise her son consistently in front of her daughter because to show her, like, look, my son's better than you are, right? It's those aunties and those grandparents and those people in the community who will say stuff like boys will be boys, especially when boys do something that they're not supposed to do, but that the goal is the same exact thing. They will be scolded and basically diminished and told that they are not following certain ideas and values. A person who is internally misogynistic also will find other women to be conniving, jealous, and will try to put them down. And I think that's really interesting because it's a basic self-reflection of how they treat other women in their lives, but it's a big issue. Right. I have this theory that internal misogyny really is stemmed by not only our cultures and our communities and things we say to women and young girls as we're growing up. You know, comments like, oh, if you don't learn how to cook, how will you get a husband? Oh, you really should learn how to fold your clothes properly. What about your husband? Oh, she basically wears those short skirts all the time. That's why she got hurt. That's why that happened to her, right? These comments are coming from a place of not kindness, right? I hesitate to say complete hatred because I don't think many people who say these comments are intentionally hating on women, but they are making comments that come off as super hateful. And I don't think they always realize that, which is the other internal misogyny. It's one of those things that unless you really start looking into it and you start reflecting on it, you're like, oh, that was, yeah. But on top of that, you got media. Let's talk about media. Media is something that consistently uses internal misogyny as a fuel and fire. Like, okay, I'm a TikTok, and on TikTok, there's constantly cycles of drama, right? And there's different discourses going on. Each of those communities and discourses has constantly drama going on. And one of those things was a whole millennial versus Gen Z fashion trends, right? Some Gen Z made a video and she was like, look, these are all fashionable things, and if you don't do these things, then you're not fashionable. And I say this because I'm a teacher. We know that teenagers are mostly the people that fashion companies target towards because they're the most influential people, right? They may not have the money, but nowadays with Instagram and TikTok and all these things, they're able to use their influence to get other teenagers to buy stuff or get their parents to buy stuff for them, right? Not to mention that teenagers are going towards identity crisis, right? I had to take a whole 45-hour course in Erickson's developmental stages, so I'm going to talk about this. Erickson's stage 6 or 7, I feel, is called identity versus confusion, where teenagers are really trying to figure out who they are in the world and what they look towards to figure out who they are. They will look at their peers. They will look at the community around them. They will probably not look at their parents because they want to separate themselves from their parents really a lot. But they will look at stuff around them. And one of those things to look at is media. How are other teenagers that they look up to portraying themselves? What are they wearing? So during this whole TikTok thing, if you're a teenager and you're starting to notice that people are saying, oh, you have to middle part your hair, you have to be wearing baggy jeans, you have to be wearing this kind of outfit, then you'll be a cool person. You're going to start doing that, right? But that also means you're going to start putting that other people in your life who are not doing those things. You're going to have to look at them certain ways. Like your older sister who might be millennial might be like, that's not cool anymore. Why would you do that thing? It started this whole war that really didn't have to be starting. And here's the thing. It didn't stay on TikTok because TikTok's so influential as a platform, it went on to other places. BuzzFeed, for instance, had articles about it. I remember seeing quizzes like, are you millennial or Gen Z? Like, I mean, these quizzes have always been around, but it was using fashion senses. And, you know, there's other things. There's ideas of pick-me girls and pick-me boys. If you're old like me, basically a pick-me girl is basically someone who makes comments like, I only hang out with boys because girls cause too much drama and stuff like that. And as I've gotten older, I realized that when you say comments like that, you're being so self-reflective because you're the one making the drama, right? Like, most people don't want to cause drama. Most people just want to live their life chilly. We don't all live in like scripted TV shows that we need to have drama every episode. But whatever. Pick me girls, they are a thing apparently, and media is also using that. We can take off other shows like in TV shows having limited female characters who have to directly compete for the male's attention, right? And that can cause mental misogyny. It can cause stuff where like chitiness and bitchiness and be like, well, I think I'm better than this person because of these reasons. And when honest truth, like if they came together, they'd be much more force than the male lead anyway, right? The cousin of mine I mentioned earlier, we talked about Indian TV serials, and basically what she said was that there's so much misogyny in these scripts, and it's so true, right? In most Indian TV serials, you have a heroine who's naive and innocent and nice, and she gets married to a family, and her mother-in-law all of a sudden turns out to hate her, which doesn't make sense because I'm like, did you meet each other like when their marriage was getting arranged or something? But no, the mother-in-law has something against the daughter-in-law, or the aunt, or the grandmother, or someone has something against the daughter-in-law on how to do things. One of my grandma's favorite, most favorite serials is called Choti Sardani, and that show is crazy. The amount of misogyny in the show. There is this one point where I don't even know how she's related to her. She's like her husband's grandma, mom. I don't even know. First of all, I'm like, how did you not meet each other when they first got married? Like, that's crazy. She finds out that, so her husband has a son from his first marriage, and then she's pregnant when they get married, but she doesn't know it until afterwards. And he says he'll keep the child and raise him as his own. And then they have another kid together. Anyway, long story short, this grandmother person finds out that this middle child is not theirs by blood and starts to basically bribe her and taunt her and tries to make her life miserable by being like, oh, you didn't give birth to my son's grandson. I'm going to be mean to you now. I'm going to, tell my husband that you blah, 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 blah. That's coming from a place of misogyny, right? It's coming from a place of like idea that this woman did not follow the rules that you set up in this society, in your culture, in your household, and did something out of those bounds, and you don't agree with it. Because if you probably did that thing, you would probably have been punished for it. And now that you're seeing someone not getting punished for it, you're being upset. There's so many things in, but that's what I've seen in media a lot, is this idea that like women are constantly pitted against other women, and it goes back to honest emotions of jealousy and envy and putting other people down to make yourself feel better, make yourself look. You can tell me if you agree with this or not. Just, get on with it.
Hey, it's editor me checking in here. I wanted to say that I had a story from one of my friends from Discord who I posted here, but she's taking a break from Discord, and I don't know if she's taking a break from social media, and I kind of want to respect her privacy, and I just did not feel right putting a story in. But basically, I wanted to share some true stories from people about what it felt like to be dealing with internal misogyny, and that's what you all you're missing. So we're gonna step back in and go back to past me. Worst eye contact. Sorry about that. I don't know about the cameras.
I myself have had cases of times where I have been somewhere where I have tried to make friends and someone has constantly given me a block and pushed me away. And I don't know why, but it always sucks and it feels horrible. At the same time, I've also grown up and heard things in my family and my friends and said things myself which come back to be really misogynistic that are eternally misogynistic when I think about it. And I'm just like, wow, I was really envious of this person. Or wow, I really put this other female down without really knowing them because I must have felt some way or another about it. And that's why I want to end this video really quickly, talk about why is that so important? Why is it so important to point out internal misogyny in ourselves and in media out there? And I think the reason is because if we're going to do women supporting women and we're going to share stories like, oh, drunkos helping drunkos all the time is so amazing and great, we have to acknowledge that sometimes when you're sober and you are growing up, you are going to say things that are going to hurt other people in your gender. Also, we can't smash the patriarchy if you're going to be here making totally misogynistic comments. If you are constantly putting other women down because of ideas or the values that the patriarchal society has told you should be doing, right? Does that make sense? Like what women wear, what they decide to do as a career or not as a career. Basically, any choice a woman makes for any reason at all, shooting her down for that because you don't agree with it, getting mad at women for getting over something that you're still working on, calling someone out for really superficial things because you're still stuck in a very childish mentality, things like that. And I think it's something that we all have to recognize, right? Sometimes it takes days, sometimes it takes years, sometimes it just takes time to reflecting back. So take this moment in time to think about the last time you talked to a woman, if you were praising her and uplifting her because you genuinely wanted her to do well in life, or if you were putting someone down or making a comment that was kind of rude and catty because you felt a certain way about this person, or you felt something about the situation happening, and that, you know, that underlying feeling, emotion that you really were feeling wasn't coming out. Now, I'm not a therapist, so I cannot talk about feelings in that sense, but I do feel like it's really important to point out that we all have had moments and times where we are totally misogynistic towards each other. Now, I'm a big believer that people can grow and change, and I'm a big believer that if our generation, millennials, Gen Z, Gen Alpha even, if we can start working towards even Gen X, even like boomers can do this. If you can sit down and reflect and think about the things you've said in the past and actively work towards changing yourself and growing and being a better person, it's going to work. We don't have to keep putting other women down just to put ourselves up. Women supporting women is an amazing thing. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I am going to go and finish up this cup of coffee. And if you want to follow me on social media, I'm on Instagram and on TikTok. You'll probably get a lot more content on Instagram and TikTok, but I'm going to try making new videos as soon as possible. And I will update you guys with other stuff. Bye.